All right, you can at the very least see this whole entire structure represents an ovulated egg. These individual cells make up the corona radiata. Those are the cells that were from the follicle. You also can see a band that goes around the egg itself is the zona pellucida. You see the egg or oocyte in it, and you can even see the nuclei of the oocyte. In here, these two represent is when you have fertilization take place, the sperm penetrating the egg will initiate the second meiotic division. And you can even see here the metaphase of meiosis II. You can even see a polar body right here. In this one, it represents, I believe, the mother and father pronuclei that will merge together and all of the genetic information will combine. You can see that the polar body underwent the second meiotic division as well. This represents a later stage of the pronuclei. What will happen is this becomes one entire cellular structure with a complete set of information ready to undergo mitosis and produce the conceptus. This one over here represents the first cell stage, second cell stage, with the pronuclei you can see on both sides. So second cell stage, four cell stage, a cross-section of the four cell stage. What happens is 4 becomes 8, becomes 16, 32, 64, and you have a production of what's called a blastocyst. Now, blastocyst is just a ball of cells, and they start differentiating. And when they do, is that blastocyst will have a space inside called a blastocele. And this model right here represents what's happening in the blastocyst to morula stage where you're having differentiation. You have some cells that will become part of the embryo, and that's the pink cells that you see here. Some of the yellow cells here have differentiated to become part of the yolk sac structure. Then you have an empty space, as I said before. You have a blastocele or just a space in the ball of cells. Then you see these cells out here called the trophoblast. Also, too, is that these collectively are called inner massive cells, and then this is called the trophoblast. When you go from this portion or this model, you can see that these pink cells will start to form a tube, which you can see here, a neural tube, and that's the beginning stages of neurulation. You'll have the ventricles, the primary ventricles we talked about in Anatomy 1. You'll have regions of somites that will make vertebrae and other structures. You'll have the lower structure in this area making limbs such as legs. I also said that the yellow cells will make the yolk sac, and the yolk sac provides nutrients. Also, too, is some of the outer cells, the trophoblast cells, will start to make this structure, which leans outward towards these finger-like structures, which are called chorionic villi. So literally, that trophoblast is going to help make the chorion with chorionic villi. The next model shows the chorion, which is the dark purplish here, and part of the placenta. But the chorionic villi will penetrate outward or radiate outward. You can also see in this model the white amnion has been developed. You can see this conceptus, or now what's called an embryo. It is starting to develop an umbilicus, or umbilical cord. The yolk sac right here will diminish because it's not going to be needed once the arteries, fetal circulation starts to develop. You can also see these indentations here, which becomes part of the vertebrae. And I could be mistaken, but there's somites, part of body structures that will be produced in this general region. And they're part of it because it becomes part of the vertebrae. You can see the eye bud here. These are ventricles right here, those primary ventricles that we talked about. I guess I skipped this. Sorry, I skipped this. We went from here, remember the pink and yellow? You can see that we're going to form that tube, the pink cells, the yolk right here, and anything around it, all the gray and dark, I don't know, dark red, purple, I don't know even color that is, will become part of the chorion. And these are the early stages chorionic villi.